one of the main benefits is that you are only taxed once with an S Corp. It's on the profits, it's at the distribution level. With a C Corp, on the other hand, it's double taxation. You have the corporate income tax rate that's going to be 21% applied to your profits. And then the dividends that are received by the shareholders or the owners are also going to be taxed again. So those are some of the pros and cons just with taxation. But in the next few videos, I'm going to go over way more of the pros and cons, thresholds, phase outs, etc. of S Corps, and if it makes sense essentially for you to, really incorporate an LLC and then choose S Corp election status. Actually, that's something else I want to touch on very briefly, is just because you are an LLC does not mean you are automatically going to be an S Corp. You have to elect that status, and that's done with Form 2553, and that's normally done by March 15th of each year. There are exceptions. A lot of people do the late form election. You have to cite certain guidance, make sure it gets approved by the IRS. You basically need a reason. Normally, a reasonable reason would be something essentially the taxpayer was not aware, they were not aware of this deadline, they were not aware of the requirement. From what I've seen recently, the IRS has been pretty lenient on that. I have not had any 2553s rejected, but that is something you have to keep in mind. So essentially right now, for tax year 2025, things getting filed in 2026, you would have to do a late election right now. So you would have to submit that with the tax return at this point and hope that it gets approved. And then essentially the business tax return itself also gets approved and reviewed. Now, if you want to start in 2026, you have until March 15th of 2026 to do Form 2553. And, the S Corp is going to be a little similar to a partnership, but the main thing that we'll get into in the next video is the reasonable compensation that you have to take at an S Corp. Thanks.